Hello everyone and welcome to today's Chrissy B Show, and I'm your host, Chrissy B. Well, today is Makeover Day, which, as you know, is our way of treating those who are doing amazing things for others. Today's lucky recipient is Special Educational Needs Co-ordinator and founder of Yellow Sun, Soli Lazarus, who has been doing some amazing work for children and families living with special needs. She'll be receiving a lovely makeover courtesy of our makeup artist Ursula Jones, as well as telling me her 5 reasons why most schools are failing your children with special needs. Ursula will then be giving me her makeup tips for getting that highlight glow. And as you know, we're always looking to keep you healthy here on the show, and what with summer well and truly upon us, Amina Warner of Allergy UK is here to give her tips on how to prevent hay fever, as well as avoiding pollen exposure. Then if that's not enough, our fitness expert Feyi Jegede will be showing us the many variations of ab moves to get you slick and toned for summer. And at the end of the show, I'll be telling you about 6 things never to say to a parent of a special needs child. Now, special educational needs and disabilities, otherwise referred to as SEND, can affect a child or young person's ability to learn through various different ways, including their behaviour or ability to socialise, read and write, to understand things, their concentration levels and physical ability. Last year, there were over 1,200,000 pupils with special educational needs, which makes people such as Soli, who work tirelessly through campaigning and writing for children with SEND, so vitally important in providing the extra support they need. Well, we wanted to hear what you think about the matter, so we took to Twitter to find out. Chloe says, "My job is beautiful. I get to play with special needs children in a kids' gym and just enjoy their laughter. What better job to have?" Vito says, "The fact that there are individuals on this earth who mock those with special needs blows my mind to pieces." Eddie is positive about our country's attitude. She says, "I have friends in the UK with 2 special needs kids. They have a fantastic healthcare system." Paul Fleming says, "Just enchanted to see primary school kids with special needs work with their mainstream counterparts in our workshops this morning." Ted Glover says, "This is my friend Maddie. She's taught me more about being kind and generous than almost anyone else alive." And Jenny says, "Special needs children aren't weird or different. They like to do the same things every other kid likes. Treat them the same too." Well, some very interesting thoughts there. So before we explore these issues further with Soli later on in the show, 13 million of us will be suffering from hay fever this summer. So we thought we would get Amina Warner of Allergy UK to give us some top tips for managing your hay fever. Welcome to the show, Amina.
Thank you for having Allergy UK on tonight.
Brilliant to have you on, because there's a lot of people suffering at the moment with hay fever.
Yes, we are in the grass pollen season at the moment.
Yes, but you'll be helping us today.
Hopefully.
Because I do suffer a little bit myself with hay fever. So first of all, can you tell us some of your tips, your top tips on how to prevent hay fever in the first place?
I think really recognition of the symptoms is probably one of the most key things. So we're talking about hay fever symptoms as in a runny nose with clear fluid, sneezing, itchy nose, itchy eyes. Some people have a tickle at the back of their throat, maybe a bit of a cough with it, with no temperature and no feeling completely unwell with it. It's not like a cold that just comes on, because some people don't know the difference sometimes, but you don't have a temperature with hay fever.
Okay, so how would you prevent it then? Or is there a way of preventing it?
Yes. There's many ways of actually controlling hay fever symptoms, and it is best really to try and start very early. And if you know what your season is that causes you to have symptoms, because some people are allergic to trees, and some people are allergic to the trees that bloom quite early on in the year, such as the birch and the alder. So if they know that their symptoms start in February or March, depending on the weather, if it's a quite warm weather at the beginning of the year, then the birch pollen can pollinate very early. So you really need to find out when your symptoms are and then start taking medication.
That's strange. I just assumed it was all sort of everyone was the same time time. I didn't realise people had it as early as February.
Yes,
Okay.
With hay fever, there's two, if you like, categories of the symptoms. So you can have it seasonally, so you can maybe just have it for grass, tree or weed pollen, so they're separate times of year, or you can have those type of symptoms all year round, and it might be then caused by an indoor allergen. But at the moment, a lot of people have seasonal symptoms, and usually it's either grass or tree pollen. So antihistamines you can get over the chemist counter, but if you are going for antihistamines for hay fever symptoms, you want long-acting, non-sedating antihistamines, because sedating antihistamines can maybe affect driving, if you're working, if you're in school. You want to actually be alert for your day to enjoy it, so you don't want sedating antihistamines. So ask your pharmacist for advice, or you can ask your doctor for advice, and there's lots of antihistamines that come under that category of long-acting but non-sedating.
Very important.
Very, very important to do that. Other things you can do, there are lots of things you can get over the chemist counter that you can ask your pharmacist about. You can get allergen barrier balms, which you just literally put around the nose. There are things from the pharmacists that you can go do to minimise the amount of pollen in the nostrils, such as what we call nasal saline douching. And so that is a very good way of washing the pollen out, because pollen is virtually indestructible unless it's wet. So how you wash it out is really important. So a saline rinse in the nose you can get again over the chemist counter. If it's itchy eyes that you've got, there are lots of things, eye drops and sprays that you can do for the eyes as well. And then again, if you feel that your nose symptoms are very blocked, because a lot of people, after they've got a runny nose, it becomes quite blocked as well if they don't treat it promptly. And that nasal blockage, the antihistamines by itself don't always take those symptoms down. So then you would need an add-on as well. And so a nasal steroid spray is the best thing that will take that inflammation in the nose down. And the best ones you can actually get from your GP or nurse practitioner. There are some you can get over the chemist counter, but if it's for young children especially, make sure you go and ask your GP for advice on that.
Okay. And does wearing sunglasses help as well?
Well, yes, because if you've got wraparound sunglasses, you're trying to get the pollen not to go in the eyes. So wraparound sunglasses can actually help with that. Again, you can put the allergen barrier balm around the sunglasses as well to make more of a seal. So some people find that useful.
Okay, but not too much, I suppose, which would be too shiny.
Exactly. So, you have to, but they're little things that people can try and do, self-help things as well.
Okay. How about actually avoiding pollen exposure? Because obviously it would be good. I know some people, got no choice, they need to go out, they need to go to their workplace and stuff, but in general, what can a person do to actually avoid the pollen in the first place?
Holidays by the seaside are always good, because pollen is blown inland, so things like keeping doors and windows closed in especially early morning and late in the evening, because pollen levels tend to be higher in the morning and in the evening. So they're little things that people can do. When they come in, if they've been walking outside in the grass or in areas where there is a lot of pollen, if it's tree pollen or grass pollen, then they can have a shower and get the pollen, again washing the pollen out of the hair and off the body, and changing the clothes can sometimes help the pollen load that might be brought into the house. And
I suppose obviously it sticks in your hair and stuff like that. So
washing the hair, especially if it's tree pollen and you've been walking in the trees, and some of maybe the catkins that give off pollen, if that's your trigger, because it's finding what the trigger is. Now some people they can't avoid pollen, and their symptoms are so severe that that what they can get over the chemist counter or the GP may not actually take the symptoms down. down. And for those type of people, they really need a referral to an allergist or an immunologist for more rigorous treatments. And there is something called desensitisation that people can have towards pollen. So we can do it in the UK towards grass pollen, and in some centres they do it towards tree pollen. So it's about getting that correct diagnosis.
Okay, brilliant. And just a question also about air filters. Can you tell us what they are and how they work?
Air filters, yes. So some people find them quite useful. They actually can extract pollen out of the indoor environment. But you have to make sure that you get one that actually has been through rigorous testing to make sure that it does that and it takes the pollen particles out.
Okay, is it just for pollen, or can it be used sort of throughout the year for different things?
Yes, there are some types of filters that can be used for that take things like the cat hair and dander out. So it depends what filtration they've got and how small the particles that they extract out of it. So, but make sure one of them, if you're going to try and look at that type of process, is to get one that actually does take the pollen out of the air.
Okay, thank you so much for all the tips and advice.
You're
I'm sure
very
that's
welcome.
helped our lovely viewers. Thank you.
I hope it has.
Thank you so much. Okay guys, so stay tuned, because after the break I'll be hearing from makeup artist Ursula Jones on her tips for getting that highlight glow. I'll see how Kick-Off for Cancer, a charity football match in Cumbria, went with founder Dan Webber, and then Hannah Richards will be offering us a delicious recipe for a creative garden salad. But first, what is the most common primary type need for children in the UK? Is it A, moderate learning difficulty, B, speech, language and communication needs, or C, social, emotional and mental health? Tune in after the break to find out. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. Well, before the break, I asked you what the most common primary type of need for children in the UK is. Is it A, moderate learning difficulty, B, speech, language and communication needs, or C, social, emotional and mental health? The answer is A, moderate learning difficulty, which affects 24.2% of pupils. So now it's time for Ursula's tips. We haven't seen her in a while. Welcome back to the show, my lovely.
Thank you.
And what are you going to be teaching us today?
So we're talking about summertime shimmer. So, it's lovely summertime now, so just adding a bit of dimension to the face now the sun's come out.
Okay, well, tries to come
Trying
out.
to come out,
Yes.
So I've got 5 quick tips, and it's about highlighting, because they come in all sorts of forms. You have them in these sticks. These are really handy. You can just chuck them in your bag. You also have them in pressed powders, and you have them in like a pigment type form, which can be quite loose. My first tip is, if you can always, universally, if you go for a golden undertone, it's going to go from sort of my skin tone through your skin tone up to sort of a really darker black skin tone. So, something like this where it has a golden undertone, I'm not sure if it's going to pick up on the camera, but it has you can probably see here the shimmer in it. So this is going to be great. If you've got paler skin like myself, something more pinky, like a frosty colour, you can get away with. But what I would say is be careful with this, because you can run the risk of, if you're highlighting too many areas, you can go for looking quite frosty.
Okay.
So that's,
a bit of an ice queen.
Yeah, we want to go for, a healthy glow. You don't want to go for the ice queen look. So yeah, just be very careful on those. And talking about brushes, so this is my second tip. Invest in a fan brush. A lot of people say when they buy the makeup kits, what is this one for? It's brilliant for if you just wanted to put a bit of powder on your face, the loose powders, but it's brilliant for using because they're very sparse, you see, they're not sort of packed in like some brushes, so it's really, really sparse. So what you can do, for instance, this one, I've put some loose powder in this pot, and you just dip it in, knock off the excess, because you don't want too much going on straight away. And then if you just highlight here, the cheekbones.
That feels nice.
Oh, good.
I like this brush. I don't actually have one. I have to get
They're
myself
brilliant.
one of these.
They're brilliant, because you can use them for powder as well. I don't know if the camera's picking that up there in the highlight of the cheek. If you just turn to me, Chris. And then with this as well, because you can apply different kinds of pressure, you can actually build up the intensity of what you want the finished look to look like. There you go, so you look all lovely and bronzed.
Thank you.
You can also, so that's your cheekbone, your brow bone. Again, I'm going to just use the same powder. So this is your brow bone, and then you can just here highlight this area just with your fingers. You can use a fine detail brush if you like. And you can also go in to the eye socket here. Just close your eyes for me, Chris. This area here, which really makes the eyes pop. There you go, just open. Perfect. And if you're feeling confident, I always say, again, this is if you're feeling very confident, take the excess down at the bridge of the nose, the top of the lip, and here on your chin. And then that just adds a perfect summertime shimmer to your makeup.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you again very soon,
Yes,
I hope.
most definitely.
Lovely.
Most
Thank you so
definitely.
much, Ursula.
Thank you so much.
And guys, if you'd like to know more info about Ursula, you can visit our website, chrissybshow.tv. So now I wanted to quickly share this video with you from Dan Webber, founder of Kick-Off for Cancer, a charity football match that took place last month to raise money for Cancer Research UK. Let's take a look.
So Kick-Off for Cancer comes on the back of fundraising for Cancer Research UK in 2016, being part of a team that raised over £15,000. One of the fundraisers that we did was a charity football match against the local police, and we decided to do something bigger, and that's where Kick-Off for Cancer comes from. Charity football match turned into a charity football tournament, 16-team knockout, then comes the offside stage and the fun field, and the event gets bigger. There's 16 teams in the football tournament altogether, 13 local businesses and local football teams, 3 special guest teams. The first special guest team is a Cancer Research UK team made up of ex-Premier League football players, managed by Liverpool manager Roy Evans. Players such as David May, Trevor Benjamin, Ben Thornley, Nick Culkin, Lee Martin, Craig Armstrong, Tony Vaughan and Lee Crooks, as well as Les Langley making up the squad. Our second special guest team is a football entertainment team made up from Football Hero UK. Celebrities from across the UK, from Britain's Got Talent, The Voice UK, models and social stars. Third special guest team is the BBC Apprentice team, made up of stars from 2015 and 2016 that are changing the boardroom for the football pitch, all helping raise money and awareness for Cancer Research UK. So all proceeds will go to Cancer Research UK, and as well as raising money and awareness for Cancer Research UK, we look to raise as much awareness as possible for UK-based cancer charities such as Macmillan, St Mary's Hospice, Rosemere Cancer Foundation, as well as many others.
And there will be plenty more coming from the boys at Kicking Off for Cancer again in the future, so keep an eye out for them. Well, summer is here and many of us will be looking to get fit and healthy. So let's go to nutritionist Hannah Richards, who gives us a simple and tasty recipe for a creative garden salad.
Hello and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. My name's Hannah and today we're going to do a really beautiful, simple and easy garden salad. So for this recipe, all you're going to need are some green leaves. I've got some lamb's lettuce. I've also got some spinach leaves. We're going to use some radishes, some cherry tomatoes, some pecans, blueberries and a squeeze of lemon. So, first of all, take your first green leaf and just give it a nice rip, a bit of a tear into easier, manageable, digestible pieces. There we go. Then take your spinach, or if you didn't have spinach, you could take watercress or rocket or a mixed salad bag, that would do the job. And these dark green, leafy greens are full of good calcium, magnesium, really detoxifying foods for the body. So there's your little mix, your base. Then we're going to take a lemon. Now you can use an infused oil. I've got a lemon and an orange one here. So you could either use both, but we're going to use some fresh lemon juice because it just gives it a bit more tang. So just squeeze that all over. There we go. And then let's chop some cherry tomatoes. You can chop them in halves, in quarters, sideways, lengthways, however you fancy. You could even put them in whole. If you don't like tomatoes, you could use cucumber. Then I'm going to add some radishes. Radishes are great for colour. A good tip when you're making your salad is try and get in almost every colour of the rainbow. And that way it'll be rich in antioxidants. And antioxidants are best friends to the body. Ooh, he got away. So just roughly chop however you can into the bowl. There we go. Then I'm going to put in some blueberries. Blueberries are excellent for antioxidants and they're nice and sweet. So they give a little bit of a treat to the salad. So just sprinkle them in on top. Then I'm going to add some pecans, and again, pecans have got a bit of a sweet, nutty flavour. And I'm just going to crunch them in my hands before they go into the bowl, so they're not too big. Pecans crush really well. You could do this beforehand. There we go. And then my last little secret ingredient is a beetroot and seed mix. And this provides your salad with really good fats, which again is good for heart health. They're full of antioxidants, brain health, cognitive. And then the last thing, we're just going to drizzle it with some plain olive oil round the top like that. Some beautiful sea salt with roses in. Some cracked black pepper. One more squirt of lemon. And then get your hands involved. And just gently massage all those flavours and ingredients into each other for a salad that's full of almost every vitamin, mineral and antioxidant going. Hi, my name's Hannah and this is the Move 360 kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of my favourite desserts, which is called monkey nut pie. So here I've just frozen 2 bananas, well, kind of frozen them, but they just need to they need to be cold. So 2 bananas, chopped, put them into the blender, like that. And then take a nut butter. There are lots of really good healthy nut butters these days, so make sure you choose a really good quality brand, and 2 tablespoons into the blender as well. And then this is just coconut milk. So we're going to pour some of this in, and it's a little bit thicker than coconut milk, and so it gives it a nice consistency. Okie dokie. And pour it out. The more banana you put in, then the thicker that will be. But that's a sweet treat for children when you don't want to feed them really sugary laden ice creams. Monkey nut pie.
Thank you very much to Hannah. Well, stay tuned because after the break, I'll be speaking to Soli about her personal journey, including how she manages a child with ADHD, and she will also be giving me her 5 reasons why most schools are failing your children with special needs. But first, last year, did the number of children with special needs increase or decrease from the year before? Have a think and find out after the break. Chrissy B and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. Now, before the break, I asked you if the number of children with special needs has increased or decreased from the year before. The answer is that the number decreased for of around 1%. Well, the reason we're discussing special needs in education on the show today is because of our very special guest, Soli Lazarus, who's been doing some incredible work. And we've been busy treating Soli to a makeover because she deserves it. And here's a photo of her before. And here she is now, looking absolutely lovely. And as we say, we are enhancing the natural beauty of our guests, right?
Thank you.
So how are you, Soli?
I'm very good, thank you.
It's lovely to have you on today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Brilliant. So you actually have your own experience with special needs. Can you tell us about that?
I do. So first of all, I'm a qualified teacher. And when I started my career sort of 30 or so years ago, I had a natural affinity with the naughty boys in the class. I just liked the children who are a bit more challenging. And then lo and behold, my son came along and eventually he was diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay.
So my sort of two lives collided.
Yeah.
So the thing I was naturally quite talented and good at in the classroom sort of came to fruition at home as well, because I had to deal with all the issues we had with my son at home, as well as managing it in the classroom.
Can you tell us about some of those issues, or what is it that you went through and the challenges that you faced?
So with my son, so the three things with ADHD is inattentive, impulsive and incredibly hyperactive. So right from very early on, he couldn't focus on things, he couldn't attend to anything. He was like a little ball of dynamite running around the whole time. I remember going to a friend actually who was ironing, and her little girl was running in and out the ironing board, and I just said, I can't believe that she did that, because for my son, if I would never have even try to do anything like that, because it was a liability all the time. Going out was difficult, birthday parties, well, he had very, very few friends because of the challenges of his behaviour.
How do you deal with
tough.
things like that when, for example, there aren't many friends around and stuff? Because it must be difficult to
It was very, very tough. For me, it was quite lonely, because at school I was constantly being called in just to have a little chat. There was constant problems. I felt very isolated because the other children would all come out laughing and joking in little groups, and then he'd come out sort of all dragging his bag behind him, his shirt would be out, he would have lost his book bag, he would have lost his tie, his PE kit, so he was very, very disorganised, and he didn't gel particularly with that particular group of friends. So it was a very difficult time.
But did the school know though about the ADHD?
Yeah,
they just didn't know how to deal with
they
it?
weren't equipped really. There were some fantastic staff who did understand, but generally I'm talking many years ago, because he's now 29.
Yeah.
At that time, it was just a question of him being naughty, spinning around in assembly and picking things off a display. Whereas now, I know from work I'm doing in schools, there's loads of things you can do to work on a child's self-esteem, and there's just a wealth of things we can do. But back when my son was in school, he was just labelled as naughty, and unfortunately his emotional health suffered, because if you're continually told you're you're naughty and the work is not presenting in a way that he can do it. So that from the academic point of view, it was a challenge as well. Socially, it was very difficult for him. The whole thing altogether is a melting pot of things not going well.
But thank goodness you're actually doing something about this now to help other parents, because you've been through it, you've experienced it, you know how lonely, how painful it can be at times.
Yes.
So tell us what you've been doing.
So I am an assistant Senko. I work in a large primary school, and November 2015 I just decided, alongside that, I wanted to set up my own consultancy, just supporting families, because it is really, really lonely. You know, as a parent, it's so hard to, it's almost a grieving process, because you have to suddenly realise that the path you thought your child would go along it's not going to happen. They're not going to have usual relationships. The job situation might not be what you dreamed and imagined. Will they be able to live independently, get married? You know, so it is a grieving process. I've got an amazing supportive husband, and we do these, you know, we work on my son and his difficulties together. But there are not so many lucky people who have got a very supportive partner.
Actually, something like this could drive people apart.
Completely drives people apart. Actually, today, one of the things I do is I support parents with a consultation. But the other thing, which I love, is I have a support group, and we meet on a monthly basis. And we actually had one this morning, and that was the kind of thing we were talking about, just how to make the rest of the family understand, and how to get your partner to understand, because within a home you can have one person shouting to do something one way and one person shouting to do it another way, and all that happens is there's conflict, and then the child's in the middle pulling strings from both sides, and the whole thing's a mess.
I can imagine with siblings as well, it must be quite difficult, because...
Siblings is one of the big things that, because I've got a daughter as well, and it affects the dynamics of the whole family. Your attention is on your child who has got additional needs, quite rightly, because you have to give you know, a lot of your attention, because you're putting out fires a lot of the time. And so I am trying to be very mindful of the siblings, because it is very difficult for them.
So it's amazing that you're actually running that support group. So important.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
You've also done something else, haven't you? Because you've actually written a book called 5 Reasons Why Most Schools Fail Your Child with Special Needs.
Yes.
So obviously, you know, we can't go into too much detail, but can you briefly tell us the 5 reasons, and if people want to know more, they can read?
Yeah, that's fine. I think it's really important to say it's most schools. It's not every school. There are some amazing teachers, amazing practices going on. But on the whole, our special children are being failed. The 5 reasons, very quickly, is that this is the only institution where we lump peer groups together. Everywhere else of different ages, we all mingle and mix. In that funny old mix, our special children have to survive and compete with children of exactly their same age. I also feel that creativity is stifled, because while schools are focusing really heavily on the curriculum, our special children often are the dancers and the musicians and the jugglers and the comedians, and is school the right environment to show off those talents, and then for them to raise their self-esteem because they're succeeding at something?
That's so important, that one, isn't it?
It's so important, because we're so fixed on learning times tables, but you know,
what's the point?
What
if that's
is the
not
point?
What you're great at.
Exactly. And you know, you can get your phone and find out the timetable. You know, but if you can juggle,
it's
you know,
so true. Why
yes,
do you still do that?
I know. So one of my main things is about emotional health, and I just think unless we find the thing that our children can succeed at, and push that creativity, and we are damaging a child's emotional health. There's so many things we can do in the classroom, so many resources we can use, techniques, simple tweaks that teachers can do to make a child really, really achieve. But quite often teachers are so busy with targets and testing and phonics and reading that they just don't have time to do these simple tweaks. So the thing then that happens is our lovely, special, beautiful children fail time and time again. I also say that targets do matter too much. I mean, year 6 to be completely taken up with SATs is crazy to me. It just doesn't make sense. It's bonkers. And then finally, I say that there is a real world out there. You know, our children have amazing skills. We want to develop entrepreneurs and free thinkers and innovators. And do our schools provide for those kind of that atmosphere, or are we just making little automatons, you know, that are good at academic things but can't think and can't invent, you know, and that's what we want. We need our system is a Victorian system based on learning things that the Victorians needed, and our world's moving forward, and I'm not sure our system suits, well, certainly doesn't suit our special children, but I'm not sure it suits any child anymore. I think we need to move forward and think of a different way of educating. But that's not to say there aren't many brilliant teachers. There are some brilliant schools. I just think we need to think about the whole system a little bit differently.
Well, it's certainly food for thought. Thank you so much, Soli, for coming on to speak to us about all of this.
It's a pleasure. I mean, it's so much my passion. I really think that just with a few simple tweaks and maybe changing the whole system, it will just benefit our beautiful special children, but maybe it will benefit all children. So
yeah, definitely. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
And all the best for the future, because I know you're going to do much more.
Yeah, I am. I've got loads of plans in the pipeline.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
Keep in touch, then you can let us come on again and tell us about the update.
I certainly will. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, guys, so don't go away, because after the break, Feyi Jegede will be showing us some different variations of ab moves for you to do at home. Then I'll be telling you 6 things never to say to a parent of a special needs child. But before that, I have one last quiz for you. Are special educational needs more prevalent in boys or in girls? Tune in after the break to find out. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where today we have been discussing special educational needs with our makeover guest, Soli Lazarus. Now, before the break, I asked you if special educational needs are more prevalent in boys or girls. Well, 8.2% of girls are on SEND support compared to almost double in boys at 14.7%. So before we head over to fitness expert Feyi Jegede, who has some variations of ab moves for us to do, here's some quick advice from Coach Ben Cooper on how to get active.
Hi and welcome to Move 360 Studios. My name is Ben. We're here with the Chrissy B Show. And today is all about feeling good. So I'm going to get as many muscles working in the body as possible. So the whole body feels good. It feels like it's had a great workout and you end up feeling better. First exercise we're going to do, we just need a couple of dumbbells. If you haven't got dumbbells, just use some books, some cans, anything you've got at home. Just hold them in front of you. We're going to squat down and come up. Squat down and come up. Holding the dumbbells this way keeps your back nice and upright, and you get to work your biceps and your upper back at the same time as you're squatting. And you want to do about 10 to 12 reps of those squats. Then with your same dumbbells, we're going to go into a shoulder width stance. Bend at the hips, nice straight back, and then pull through with the arms. So like a scarecrow, just a few teaching points. Just let the arms hang down and then you're pulling back from the elbows. If you don't have weights, you can just hold yourself like this with the arms out and hold for about a minute. That'll be quite tough because that'll really work the extensors in the back. Okay, And now we're going to go on to our push-ups, which are down onto the mat. So you're just going to use your body weight. A few teaching points on how to do a proper push-up. Make sure your chin stays in. So watch me when you do it, and then I'll explain it again. So down, chin comes in. So a lot of people try and get their head down to the ground, which pulls you into very bad posture. So the chin comes forward. Make sure it's the chest that's going to the floor. And the elbows can stay about 45 degrees from the shoulder and pushing up from there. So watch me again on that. Okay, and then you should have a really good push-up that works your abs, your chest, your arms, pretty much your whole body along with the rest of the exercise. If you struggle to do a full push-up, you can do a slightly easier version, which you stay on your knees, so cross your feet at the back, but make sure again the same principles, the chin stays in, chest to the floor, and back up. Okay, you don't want to do it like this, that's not a push-up. We're going to go here, hips come forward, chest comes down, chin stays in. That way we still work the abdominals, otherwise they just get left behind and no one wants to leave their abdominals behind. So talking of abs, we're going to go on to a more specific abdominal exercise. I call this navel radiation. The belly button is the navel, so we're going to radiate around it to work the abdominal wall. So lying down on your mat, spread out like a starfish, and then you're going to come up to the middle and then control back up. Okay, and open the arms and legs back where they were. Come up again and control down. So when you're doing that one, try and keep your tongue to the roof of your mouth. That helps to use the right muscles in your neck. And try and breathe out as you come up and breathe in as you go back. And you'll really feel that start to work those abdominal muscles. And it's a great complement after the muscles we've already worked, so the whole body has got to work out in those 4 exercises.
Thanks very much to Ben. And now let's head over to Feyi Jegede, who has this week's workout for you.
Hey there guys, and thank you so much for joining me in today's fitness segment. Now on today's show, I'm going to be taking you through a how-to series. Today's how-to series is all about sit-ups, doing them correctly, okay? Lots of women, lots of men do sit-ups and they're always talking about getting aches in their necks, right here at the back, or obviously right here at the front. So today I'm going to show you the correct way to do that. You're going to need a mat and of course your trainers, and join me for this workout. So right, come down onto your mat, okay, and just lie down into a position that's comfortable initially for you, okay? So once you've done that, then the next thing you need to do, in order for your back to be flat on the mat, you need to tuck your tailbone, this area of your body, into the sky. So I'm just gonna do that right now, and you're gonna see that change. So I'm gonna do it again, a little bend, so it curls up, and then my back now is flat on the floor. There's no more arches, okay? So from here, you're now in the perfect position to do your sit-up. Make sure your neck is up towards the ceiling. Imagine you've got an apple here, and then you put your hands behind your head, and then you're gonna come up. A little small move, about 30% off the floor. That 30% is all you need and is more than enough for you to feel the contraction around the stomach area. So hold it there. And then let's do that. And now you breathe at the top. Notice that my neck still has a space here, and I'm not doing this, and I'm not overarching it. I'm just keeping it very still, looking at a spot in the ceiling and coming up and down. Excellent. So that's a simple, basic sit-up. Now, of course, you can make it harder. So you can take your legs further away. You can take your hands above your head, or depending on the amount of space you have at home. So if you haven't got enough space, because you're working out at home, clear the area. But if not, you can put your hand on your head, and then literally we're going to do this, slide up. So if you haven't got space like this, then we're going to work our way up our thighs. So here we go. So we've made it harder. I've walked my feet away, and then I'm coming up with my hands on my thighs, and I'm sliding up. Remember the neck. Keep that space between your neck and your chest. And I love to tell everyone to imagine that they have an apple sitting right there, and you don't want to squash the apple. Excellent. So just give me 2 more, and then you're nearly there. Fantastic. 1 more. And breathe, of course. Don't hold your breath. There you have it. And our final one, adapting. Take your feet up, and then from here, again, going to be the sit-up. And all you're going to do is imagine that your knee is going to meet your elbow. So you're going to crunch. Remember, it's only a small move. My neck, still very relaxed. Come, push it away. Don't forget to breathe. Excellent. Taking that air, crunching, keeping the neck relaxed. Excellent. Can you give me 1 more flock? And there you have it. Well done, guys. Your core is going to be feeling the burn. Thank you so much for joining me in today's fitness segment, and I'll catch you guys again in our next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, so now it's time for my tips on things never to say to parents with a special needs child. Now, these come courtesy of afineparent.com and the Huffington Post. And sometimes, understandably, we want to let people know that they have our support, and in our effort to help, we can sometimes really put our foot in our mouth. So here are a few things that parents with special needs children have actually heard from people that they found quite offensive. So the first one is, "I'm sorry." So while a sympathetic statement like this seems inoffensive, it can actually put the person you're saying it to in a tough spot. So just think of their child as any other. The second one is, which is, "You're lucky you have a normal kid too." I mean, who would say that? That one I don't even need to explain, because that is so offensive. You're just implying that their child is an alien, basically. Let's go to the third one. "He or she will catch up." So here's a quote from someone to explain. "As a parent of a 4-year-old with a vocabulary of a 9 to 12-month-year-old, hearing this is similar to nails on a chalkboard. He physically cannot speak. While I certainly hope he can someday, hearing that he'll catch up doesn't help, especially when we've had him in speech therapy for the past 3 years. So something actually that you could do instead is to actually ask about their child's maybe unique abilities and interests. So you can ask, what are your child's hobbies? What's his or her favorite book? It's probably a better thing than saying that they're going to catch up. The next one is, we're only given what we can handle. So this one actually implies that the person is supposed to be able to handle it, but there are some days that parents actually don't feel like they can handle it, and they feel that they can't even go on. So if you say something like this, it may even discourage your friend, if you're speaking to a friend, to open up about what they're feeling because they're supposed to be doing well. So, what the article is actually suggesting instead is to offer to help your friend find a support group for parents or of special needs children. Let's go to the fifth point, which is, what's wrong with him or her? So to illustrate this one, here is what Michelle Turner, a mother of 2 children with special needs, says. Now, bear in mind that she has had everyone from the grocery store baggers to strangers in the library asking this in front of her children. And she says, "I know that people want to know everything, but sometimes even the parents don't have all the answers. It took our family 3 years to get a complete picture on my son's well-being. I need to guard my child's privacy. There are appropriate places and reasons to talk about his special needs, but in public and because you're curious are not among them." And then a better approach is suggested, and they're saying here to highlight the positives and say something like, "Wow, he's got such a great smile," or "What a cute outfit." And the article's also saying that statements like these will allow a parent a moment to be proud and talk about something special that they're doing for their child. So I can imagine that how difficult that must be. And sometimes people just don't think before they speak. And then lastly, let's go to number 6. He or she looks so normal. Again, I don't need to explain that one. So I hope that has kind of enlightened our viewers a little bit. And, you know, if you do know people that have special children, that you will actually bear those points in mind. And there were some other ones too, but you can have a look at the articles online. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, or if you have any comments about this show, or you have a question to ask, then please do get in touch with us. You can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And until next time, bye-bye for now.